Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to be talking about something I've discussed with friends quite a lot lately, and that is my top 20 points, not necessarily in the order, of the good, the bad, and the ugly of going to live concerts these days. Let's see what you agree with. Comment in the descriptions below, and like and subscribe, that would be great. And let's get started, shall we? So now then, the good. Let's have a think about what's great about those live concert experiences. Those moments where you just can't believe what's in front of you and that it's something that you will remember forever. So I have 4 points on good. Let me know if you have any others actually, because that'd be really, really interesting to hear. So the first point is about it never been a better time to be able to see an artist live. So now that touring particularly is where the money seems to be for a lot of artists, you are more than likely now than ever before to see that one artist that you really want to see coming to a venue near you. Historically, you would only ever see artists tour every X number of years. Some, it would be 10 plus years at a time between tours because all the money was made in recording. And that's not the case anymore. So one of the things that's great is you're going to get to see somebody you want to see. And that's got to be a good thing, right? So the next one is that if you can't get to a show, it's more than likely someone's going to record it. So whether we like this or not, and you could also kind of put us into a good, maybe not so good, and we'll come back to that. The good point is that you can likely see it on YouTube or a streaming platform or on their own platform or TikTok or one of the other platforms that show video content. You will get to see clips or even the full show. Somebody will put it online. It will be available. So that's good. So if you can't make it or you can't afford it, and we'll come back to that point later, then you have a chance to be able to see that artist and that show, and you can watch it over and over, which is great. Next one is the demand. So we'll come on to this as another point. However, I think there's a growing demand for lots of artists to play smaller venues, to play alternative venues, whether it's theatres, whether it's other kind of club environments, and do full shows at those venues. So you get to experience artists that you like in different formats and different settings, and that's got to be a good thing. I've seen certainly some artists in much smaller venues rather than like the big corporate event gigs that are so huge that unless you pay a fortune, you're not going to get anywhere near the front, or you're not going to see them, or the vibe is different. I've seen other artists in really small venues, and it's incredible. It's a very different experience as a concert goer. And the other thing with good points about live music and concerts these days is that social media makes it really easy to connect with other fans, other people who like the music you like, who like the artists you like, and you can create a community of fandom, and that at its best can be really powerful and can really make a difference for a lot of people. Now we'll obviously go on to the bad and the downright ugly, because that also is the counter argument to that. So let's get on to that, shall we? So let's take a look at some of the points that, when I've been in conversation with friends, they've raised. Some of the not so good things, some of the bad things about concerts and going to live events in this century, in this part of the timeline of our world. I don't know what I was saying there, but bear with me. So one of the big things is that there's a don't miss out mentality to these big arena stadium gigs, and that's very deliberate in the marketing. They know what they're doing. They know that it's to generate sales, and it's to generate a fear of missing out, FOMO. So they don't want you to feel that you're going to miss your favourite act, your favourite artist, because everybody else will be there and you won't be. So they deliberately create a feeling that this is a limited number of tickets, you're not going to get them, so hurry. And therefore, that leads into a few of the other points that I'm going to get into as well. And if you can't secure a ticket, well, let's see. One of the other bad points is around venue size. So I mentioned previously in the good is that you can see some artists in some really cool venues, some really alternative venues. But some artists you can only see, or more than likely only see, at huge stadiums. So we're talking 80,000 capacity. And although probably for anyone in America watching this, that's probably standard. For anyone UK and Europe based, we're not so used to that. We're used to kind of 12 to 20,000 maximum arenas. So when it comes to this big stadium gigs, which let's be honest, are always not that cheap either now, you are going to be a million miles away from your favourite artist unless you pay an absolute premium. And the chances are they may only be doing 1 or 2 nights in that location in any given country. So that really forces you to decide whether you want to see that artist at that venue and at that price. And I'm not entirely convinced that's the right way of handling things from an artist's point of view. I understand from a costings and a touring point of view and getting to as many people as possible. Yeah, I get that. However, there's no coincidence, and there really is no coincidence in this, there can't be, that the big stadium tours are the ones that make the biggest profit. Now, let's not kid ourselves here. It's a business. You might be a fan, I might be a fan, but it's a business. And if they can make millions per night in profit, as opposed to under millions per night profit depending on venue, it's kind of obvious what they're probably going to choose if they can. But that's one of the bad things, I think. One of the things that goes alongside those big gigs is an element of greed. And whether it's... I actually won't name the artists because we all know who they are. But as soon as ticket sales go on for particular artists anywhere in the world, accommodation prices go through the roof. Double, triple, quadruple to what a standard hotel or Airbnb price would be. So for those people who really desperately want to see their favourite artist, and we all have those moments where we're like, I really want to see them. I really, really want to see them. And I really want to see that tour because I like that album. I like how they're presenting it. I like the visual style. I get it. The actual cost of the going to that event becomes really expensive. And for a lot of people, they may well be priced out of that unless you can get a number of friends together and share accommodation. But then it's finding one. It's literally finding one. And that can be a problem, particularly for younger fans, I would imagine, who may not have as much disposable income. So they are going to have to rely on parents or family to help. And it becomes really price prohibited, and everybody's after that monetization of these kind of events. The next one I have here is, and this is a bad one, but it's only a little bit bad, really. It's the pay extra for a nice souvenir laminated lanyard ticket. It's a sales pitch. That's all it is. You get a lovely souvenir ticket, and it looks lovely. I'm sure some people really love having one and collecting them and keeping them. I have a couple. But considering what I'm going to be talking about in terms of prices in general, it's yet another upsell. And it's a bit yuck. Considering what some of these tickets cost in the first place, it wouldn't cost you much to offer that to, say, anybody who bought a Gold Circle ticket at £185. Certain artists, you could automatically just give a laminate ticket and a lanyard as part of that package. You could do that if you wanted to, but so that's why it's bad. So the next one is around venue costs, and yes, you'll have just noticed I'm using some notes because I couldn't possibly remember all of this. And I think we've all recognised now that the bigger arenas, the stadiums, obviously all have to pay for staffing, etc., etc., etc. But I think it's becoming more transparent now with these big shows, kind of what the money is, where it's going. There are more people doing videos on kind of costs that the promoter will charge the venues, and how much the bands actually earn, for example. So if you go and search that, there are some videos out there, and it's quite shocking, honestly, that all of the money you're paying for merch, for food, for drink, on top of your ticket and what the band actually make at the end of the day is very different. So the actual venues themselves are charging money for staffing the merch stalls, for use of all their facilities, but then they're actually gouging, and let's be honest, I'm just going to call it that, gouging fans for costs for food and drink. However, that also does come on to the ugly as well, and I'll come back onto that point in terms of drinking and behaviour. So although they're gouging on cost, it's not stopping people from taking a lot in terms of alcohol. Now, I don't know if this is a uniquely British thing. So if you've been to concerts in Europe recently or in the States, please let me know. I'm really interested to see what the difference is. I've been to gigs in Germany and it's a different feeling. It's actually Germany and the Netherlands, and there isn't the drinking culture at concerts. People are going to watch the concert. They're not going to literally spend half the time backwards and forwards to the bar. That does feel like a very British thing, and that's weird. Why would you pay all that money just to spend it at the bar? What's wrong with you? So, this next point is kind of linking into what I've just said. I thought it was in the ugly. I would say I've put it in both. I'd forgot. But crowd behaviour. I think there's something around. People seem to have forgotten a little bit how to behave around others and are seemingly less considerate of other people around them. And this might be more because of the amount of drinking, but it does seem to be a regular occurrence, particularly UK shows. As I said, let me know below whether you've been to shows in other places outside of the UK, whether it's similar, but it's noticeable at a lot of UK shows. And honestly, I know for talking to a number of friends, it does put them off going, because it's not pleasant, it's not nice. If you just want to go and enjoy the show and enjoy the artist you're seeing, you don't want to have to put up with someone else's drunken bullshit. You don't. But we have to. So the next one, and some of you are going to be like, oh God, yeah. Social media. So we know that everyone's got a smartphone in their pocket, everyone's got the ability to take photos, to record video, and now at very high quality. Even indoor and low light is now increasingly high quality on these devices. So it's automatic that people are going to want to record things at gigs. However, I mean, do you think your favourite artist really cares about your fandom to a degree? And having cameras thrust in their face all the time, it can't be a great experience. And I think it will probably vary from artist to artist. Some are probably worse than others in terms of the fandom. I'm not calling any out because I've heard all the rumours of which fandoms get really toxic if you say anything about them. But it's a general behaviour of the amount of people kind of using social media, using devices at gigs, and just some of the toxicity that goes with that. And we will come on to that again into the downright ugly Oh, yes, we will. And my final list for the bad is pretty much last minute sales. Now, this is an interesting one and something I've noticed more in the last 12 months. And that is quite a number of quite big, well known, renowned artists have had last minute ticket sales at arenas in the UK. Now, I'm going to put this down to the cost of living, to the cost of expensive tickets, but I've seen a number of 2-for-1 offers. I've seen a number of very low cost VIP upgrades, experience upgrades, or whatever you want to call it. It's essentially trying to fill out an arena as much as possible and using ticket sales or offers to be able to do that. There's always been things like group sales. There's always been things like buy X CD when it comes out and you'll get access to a pre-sale. I get that. But this is open ticket sales to literally fill the seats. And the reason I'm saying that's bad is from one perspective only. It's not bad. It's not bad in terms of if you manage to get a sale ticket and you've got a bargain. Great, nice one. The problem comes for all those people who may have paid full price around you and then realise that half the people sat around them have paid next to nothing compared to what they did. That's not great. That isn't great. And that probably exists in every form of entertainment. I'm sure it definitely exists in theatre. If you look at kind of sales or bargains or things like Today Ticks or other outlets that sell tickets at discounted rates, on the day tickets with discounted rates, all of that. But if you're the recipient of that, great. If you're not and surrounded by people who are, it's not so good, is it? But that's one of the lesser of the bads, I think, really, because that can always happen. But it's also bad in that it's, for me, I wonder whether that's a bit of an indicator now. And as of recording this, it is June 2025, as to whether it is an indicator of cost of living really hitting, people genuinely really struggling, because concert tickets are pricey. I've already mentioned accommodation. I've already mentioned cost of just having a drink or having something to eat when you're at a venue. All of that is pricey. So it may actually be putting a lot of people off looking at the ticket prices and thinking, I just can't justify spending X hundreds of pounds on the ticket, the travel, the accommodation, the food, the drink, minimum, just to be able to see that one artist for 2 hours. So that is my list of the bad. Let me know what you think. Now, I'm going to go on the downright ugly. And let's hope none of you are on this list. So we've looked at the good, yay. We've looked at the bad, does put me off a little. We're now going to have to look at the downright ugly. And there are a few. No surprises, really. So the first one, and I'm sure everyone looking at this video will have experienced this at some point, and that is the pre-sale nightmare. I literally can just say that and everyone's like, oh, we've all experienced it. That log in half an hour before. Let's just see how it goes, what actually happens. But it's getting out of hand. There are so many pre-sales now before a general sale. I genuinely wonder whether there's any tickets left after pre-sales. There was one recently I saw, and I think there were 6 different pre-sales for every single arena night. And that just seems crazy. That just seems absolutely crazy. How have you got a chance? Well, one, how have you got a chance of even getting a ticket if there's that many people trying at once in different logins? But it's also kind of not a premium experience, because quite often those seats that are particularly fan pre-sales, I've noticed a lot of those are selling tickets that are certainly not what I would class as fan premium seats. It's literally like you are getting rid of the crap seats first because you can. Sorry, fan sales, but it isn't always great. And just to it's a little admission here. I did have 19 items, but I split this one into two so I could round it up to 20 because I didn't like the thought of 19. And 20 sounds better, right? So this is pre-sales part 2. So, you're sat at home, you've got your cup of tea next to you, and it's half an hour before the pre-sale, and you click on, and you're in the waiting lounge. It's nice and chill, isn't it? It's lovely. It's relaxing. Little bougie. Little lovely. So you sat waiting, you're watching the timer, getting excited to get tickets for your favourite artist, and you can't wait because you either not seen them for ages, or you're taking a friend who's never seen them before and you're excited because they're going to see them. And then it ticks over to 9 a.m. and it all changes. So you've logged in and it's all random as a virtual queue. No matter how long you've been sat there, and in front of you you see 89,347 people are ahead of you for a 14,000 seat arena. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a maths genius here, but 14,000 seats and 83,000 people in front of you do not add up. Now, I don't know how many of those are bots or are automated scammers or whatever else you're using to get hold of tickets, but at that point, my instant reaction is, I may as well not bother, because I'm not going to get anything. I'm just not going to get anything. By the time I get through, everything's gone. And I think that's a pretty common experience these days for a lot of people, and it's really annoying. And I get the ticket providers are saying it's to reduce scams, it's to reduce bots, blah, 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 blah. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. It goes back to my first point of it's building FOMO, it's building anticipation and expectation of I must get this ticket, it will sell out. It's a sales tactic. That's all it is. And I don't agree that it's a good one. I really don't agree it's a good one. I had a recent one where I was on a site, I got a really low number. I think I was 3 or 4 minutes after 9 a.m, got onto the website of the ticket seller, and every ticket was gone. So I went onto another platform, which was Viagogo. The previous one I was talking about was Ticketmaster, obviously, because that's a big one. Went onto Viagogo, hundreds of tickets already. At prices I would never pay. So it's something still not quite right here. I don't think it's fair for fans. I really don't. Fight me for it. Mention it in comments. But it doesn't seem like it's a fair process at all. You have a very low chance of getting a ticket if you've got that many people in front of you. So my next bad point, and this really does link into a much newer phenomenon. Did I say that right? I think I did. Is dynamic pricing. I know, don't all shout and scream. Don't, I can hear it now. It's not a pleasant thing, dynamic pricing. This isn't something that ticket companies just do. Let's just be clear here. I've seen some artists who've done the statements of, I didn't know, I wasn't aware, yada, yada, yada. Calling you out on it, artist, bullshit. You are aware, you do know, it's in your contract. If you genuinely don't know, then your manager or your agent or whoever else is signing the contract on behalf of you is not telling you the full story. Because dynamic pricing or premium pricing can be opted out. You don't have to have it on the platform, but let's be honest, it makes more money. So lots of people and lots of artists do use it, and do use it very, very badly, not to the detriment of themselves, but definitely to the detriment of their fans, of people buying tickets, where costs just go up and up and up. And there's definitely, just realised there's definitely a theme in here in terms of cost. You are being price gouged at every single opportunity. And that brings me on to my next point, which is additional ticket prices. So remember back in the day where you would have a ticket. So let me give you an example. So all you kiddies, come on, get closer. Back in the day, you would either have to ring a telephone number and queue up, and it would tell you the number that you are queued, because that would be the exact number that you had queued in. Or you could go and stand outside an actual real venue and talk to an actual real person to buy a ticket, and they would print off the ticket and give you the ticket there and then. So you would get your printed ticket. So for example, say 1990s, average ticket for an arena event might cost you £14. I know, I apologise, I'm sorry. And then your booking fee would be £1. And that's the price of your ticket. That's it. I can hear millions of Gen Zs screaming right now. Sorry kids. I don't like it now either. I really don't. Whereas now you can have booking fees, service charges, service fees, whatever they call it, it's the same thing. It's the fee they charge you to process your transaction. And in some cases, I've seen up to £25. I have no idea why it would cost you anywhere near £25. We know the answer. It's gouging you for money again. It's not £25. If you are one of the biggies, you have the system set up, you have the people set up. A lot of it will be automated. You may even be incorporating AI in some of that. You don't even need to print tickets anymore, you lousy scumbags. It's all done electronically on people's phones. You're literally processing, I'm going to click that seat there, get that ticket, pay for it. In terms of service fees, it's just another way of charging people to make money off the tickets. That's it. And it's unacceptable, it's greedy, it's disgusting, and quite honestly, I really do think there needs to be a independent inquiry into ticket sales and how it's done, because it's not right. It really is not right. Yeah, no, I sound like a grumpy old man. Apologies, but it isn't right. If I was younger and a fan of a lot of the people that I like now, I have no idea how the hell I would afford to buy a ticket to see them. No idea. Apart from putting it on a credit card and worrying later. That would be the only way I could afford it. If I was 17, 18, had my first job, there's no way I could afford to go and see the artists that I want to see. And I'm lucky I've seen a lot of artists over a lot of years and been able to afford to do it because the prices weren't insane. I probably wouldn't be able to afford to do that now if I was younger, if I was a lot younger. I say a lot younger? Younger. Let's just stick with that, right? So we've got a few more bads to go through. We're on our final stretch, but that one, I hate that one. It's really not nice. However, this one, I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos about it on YouTube already. It's that main character behaviour at gigs. Can we just stop this, people? I have not paid £100 plus, maybe close to £200 to see one of my favourite artists in an arena, to have you constantly, with your back to the stage, filming yourself with the light on, in my face, for you to be going, oh my God, look at me, I'm at this concert. And I'm pretty sure the artist can see you and is probably thinking the same. It's out of control. Stop it. I don't care that you're at I nearly said another name, but I'm choosing not to say names, at artist A, B, or C. I don't care. The internet doesn't care. Just because you're flicking your hair and looking pretty. And yes, it is mainly basic white girls. Stop it. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's not clever. But it's just really ignorant of those around you. They've paid the same money you have. They've not paid to see you. You're not the star. Go and sit down, hon. Take a rest. You look tired. Just stop it. Yeah, I said it. My next really bad point, the ugly, is the resellers market. And I mentioned it before about pre-sales and then suddenly everything being on the likes of Viagogo or StubHub or one of the other platforms, is just the amount of money that they're charging. It seems to be driving up demand. I've read some reports, and again, this is not factually substantiated, but I've seen some YouTube videos where they've started looking into this, and there are assumptions that maybe some of the ticket sellers are holding back tickets just to place on these secondary sellers' sites, and that just wouldn't feel right if that was the case. That's pretty nasty. We know everyone likes a good art of the sell. Let's make a bit of money. Let's make a bit of profit. Great, you do you, babes. But when it comes to a point where it's massively blocking any fan being able to get a ticket unless they pay absolutely through the nose. So we're talking, let's give an example. So when Madonna came back for the celebration tour at the O2 in London, and that was the opening night, there were £250 tickets, face value, on Viagogo for £4,000 to £5,000 per ticket, and they were not in a particularly great spot either. Now, that's crazy. The only way this can stop is if people stop buying them. It is that simple. That's how these things work. People would not keep on doing it if they weren't making profit. They would go and find profit doing something else. This exists in other markets, whether it's technology, video games, limited edition items. It's all over the place. It's not unusual. You'll see it a lot on eBay with limited edition items that come out. But in general, it makes the market unaffordable, it pushes up prices, and it's not about the fans, it's about profit. And we'll get down to my last two of my 20 good, bad, and really ugly things about going to concerts these days. Is the reselling market part 2. So one of the things that's really interesting is that in terms of reselling, sites like Ticketmaster and AXS and others do have the capacity and do allow for reselling of tickets of shows that you might not be able to get to because circumstances change. Things might change. You might not be able to make it. You might not be feeling too well. Family might not be feeling too well. It could be anything. Whole host of different things. So you want to sell your tickets. Now, historically, people would sell on sites, would have sold on places like eBay. And eBay stopped it because there were a lot of scam copied tickets that were then not valid when people got to venues. So if you do genuinely want to resell tickets, quick bit of advice, there's a really good site called Twickets. I'm not sponsored or promoted by them in any way in this video, but they will sell at face value. So if you do want face value tickets, that's a great place to look. But AXS and Ticketmaster do it as well. And I have used it, and it's been a great experience. I do have to give them... I should have put this in good, actually, shouldn't I? Partly. The good is that it's available and you can do that. However, the reason it's kind of downright ugly is that it's not an automatic feature for every gig. So I do wonder, similar to the dynamic pricing, whether this is something that rather than dynamic pricing has to be turned off, that fan resale has to be agreed to be turned on, dependent on the artist. Now, I've seen some artists, it's on straight away for some things. In some, it depends on which territory. So, for example, you might have an artist that's playing in the UK, in Europe, Australia, and America. I'm not mentioning any particular names, but for example, the US resale could be turned on. The UK one was turned off. The Europe one was turned off, but the Australia one was turned on, for example. So it's not equally applied across an entire tour for that one artist. It's by territory. And I just think that's a real shame. Ticketmaster and Live Nation, AXS, I think you're all missing a trick, babes. If you had this as a default that every artist had to offer it, and it had to be through the site where they bought the ticket, and you could charge a fee for it, then you're still making money. You're still making money. It's secure, it's valid, it's viable, it works. You've already established this. But also, it might well reduce the likelihood of the sites like Viagogo or StubHub. Now, I don't know whether at one point I think Ticketmaster had some connection to Viagogo in terms of they owned a percentage of it. I don't know if they still do, so I can't say 100%. But anything that would stop that kind of scamming of tickets to that level of price profit, that would help that. If you genuinely wanted to make a difference, you would do that. There's your challenge, big ticket sites. What's stopping you? What's stopping you dropping off one of my really ugly items and fixing it? You know you can. Dare you. Double dare you. And one of my... this is an interesting one. So the final one on the list, and this is a much newer one that I've seen a lot of, and that is seating offers. Now you're thinking, what does he mean by that? There's lots of offers. So there's premium seats, there's VIP seats, there's extra special yellow banana VIP, luxury gold, bandana seats, you name it, they'll call it anything. Generally, okay, you don't have to pay those prices. However, for some people, if that's the only way to get a ticket, that's the only way you get into the show, sadly. And when you've got premium seats that are a far from premium view, what are you doing? So recently I've had a quick look on a few different artists, and these tickets can range anything from £175 to, let's say, £450 for a premium seat. Generally, they are well over the £250 mark. They are generally between £250 to £400. Now, there are two problems with this. Actually, no, there's one problem, and that is quite often they can be sat anywhere in the arena. So, yes, you know where you're going to be sat. I wouldn't exactly call it a premium view. If you are 3 blocks away from the stage, so you are pretty much on the back curve of an arena, you are quite far away, and the majority of your view will be off the screen. Now, for that kind of money, I don't think that's premium. That really is not a premium experience. Premium experience is the first few rows of the floor. So you are close to the stage, you are close to the artist, you've paid the money to be the nearest. Fine, some people don't like that view either, but at least it's fair. It's fair to a degree that you know that that's where the premium seats are. But to charge £350 per ticket, plus your booking fees, remember the previous one I mentioned, your service fees, which are probably about £18 a ticket, to sit that far back, that's inexcusable. And price gouging again, babes. Price gouging. I should have set up an alert for every time I say it. It goes like, price gouging. And the final one, which is the weirdest one I've seen, and we'll finish on this, of the downright ugly, are tickets that suddenly appear that are face value. And suddenly you're like, oh great, there's tickets appeared for this show. Except they are either so far side stage that you will have a restricted view of the stage, of the artist, of what's happening, or even worse, you are sat behind the stage. I'm not kidding. Go Google it. Go YouTube it. Go look it up. There are people who have paid the going rate for a ticket to sit behind the stage. Not even a screen. Not even a screen, babes. You're sat behind the frickin' stage. Now, again, the only way this will stop is if people stop buying them. And sadly, I don't see that changing anytime soon. So if you see these tickets come up, and particularly if it tells you limited, rear view, side view, restricted view, there's a few really good sites. So I think there's a site called Seat Plan, where you can literally go and look by venue, and you can click on the seats if there's pictures from those seats, and get a rough idea of what you will see in each venue, in each seat. Go and look at it before you buy them, please, because if I turned up and I paid whatever £100 plus, and I couldn't even see anything that was on the stage apart from when they were right at the end of the catwalk, a million miles down that end, I would not be happy. However, and just to be really clear, because you've bought those tickets and you've signed for your terms and conditions, there is nothing you can do about it because you've agreed to it. Just a heads up. You can complain as much as you like. You can compo face as much as you like. You ain't going to get anything back. So just a warning. If you're getting those tickets, please go and do some research. Go and check and see what your view will be. If it's part of a longer tour and this artist has already played other venues, go and have a look. Go and research and see whether it's the same in other venues, and see what fans have posted of pictures. So, I think to summarise, I think we can say it is a great time to go to concerts. I love going to live gigs. I love the experience. There's nothing like hearing live music, live instruments, live singing. I mean, some people that's questionable, but we won't name names. Moving on. Some of the crowd behaviour, not great. Really not great. Tickets, mentioned extensively, that's really not great. That feels like that needs to change, and there needs to be some real investigation into that one. However, let me know down below what your experience has been. What's been the great experience? What's been the not so great? What have you walked away and just went, oh my God, that was horrendous? Let us know below. And I hope it's given you something to think about. Please do continue to support small venues, independent artists, new up-and-coming artists. Please support them. They need your support. They need your money. They are likely not backed by major labels. Give them all your love, and give these little venues a love, because they really need your help right now. We are seeing a lot of venues closing across the UK, and probably the same across Europe, Australia, and the East and the USA. Please support them, because they need it. These huge venues and huge ticket companies are making billions. They're not short of money at all. So please go support where you can. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's given you something to think about. And until next time, put those lighters in the air and scream like it's 1985. Bye for now.